Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about a topic that is not discussed very often, and I want to talk about my own personal tarot regrets. And I thought this would be a good topic to help some people who are new to tarot to have a bit of an idea of what to expect along the way when you have a tarot interest. I'm someone who has been involved with tarot for over 25 years. So I've seen a lot of changes over that time, and it has been quite a long and deep focus for me over quite a period of time. But I wanted to talk about some of the particular regrets that I have about tarot over that period and the point of time where I am now. And talking about tarot regrets, this is not about tarot peeves. These are not tarot peeves that I have. These are just regrets that I have now, having engaged with tarot for such a long period of time, and what I experienced along the way, and why they are regrets. So I've written down a few regrets here, and now I have to read my own handwriting, which is a bit difficult. Tarot regret number 1. Now these are not in any particular order, but the number 1 tarot regret really stands out for me. And when I say what it is, I think you will probably understand, because it's quite common for a lot of people who have been following tarot for quite a long time. Number 1 tarot regret is my tarot collection being too large and having got a bit out of hand. I do regret my tarot collection being too large. There's no getting around that. It has been difficult for me when I have moved a few times, changed dwellings a few times, and just the time it takes to pack my tarot collection alone. It's something that I have not been very happy about in recent years, because I realise that I do simply have way too many tarot decks, even though most of the time I have been fairly discerning about what I have in my collection. I still have too many because I have been collecting and buying decks for 25 years, so you can imagine that I would have quite a number of tarot decks, and no, I have never counted them. I don't want to count them. It would just take too long. Tarot regret number 2, buyer's regret. Now, that is actually separate to the first one in the way that I mean particular decks that I regret having bought. And I haven't got all that many actually, which is good, but this particular deck might surprise people because it's been quite a popular deck in the past, and it happens when you get caught up in tarot hype. And I don't get caught up in tarot hype very often, but with this particular deck, yes, I did get taken along with the tarot hype. This might surprise a few people, but the deck I'm talking about is the Anna Kay Tarot. And for some people, they might find that a bit surprising. It's almost like, oh, shock, horror, you know, one of the sacred cows of tarot. Yeah. I just have had a lot of trouble relating to the artwork of this deck. I only like about a third of the cards, and that hardly ever happens to me. Normally I like most of the cards, and there might be 2 or 3 single cards that I don't like. But with this, I only like about 1/3 of the whole deck. So the Anna Kay Tarot, I regret buying. And I'm going to show you a few of the cards that, for me, I really don't like. The first one is supposed to be the Page of Swords. And this looks like, to me, this looks like a kung fu warrior. You know, it just doesn't fit in with a medieval scene that, or a Renaissance scene that the most of the rest of the deck is. You know, the stance of that figure looks like a kung fu warrior, and it just doesn't look right. It looks like, yeah, I keep thinking kung fu or the samurai or something. It just doesn't seem to fit. That card really bothers me. The next one is supposed to be it's the King of Swords, and what bothers me about this one is the arm, this arm here of this figure. The arm looks too long. I don't know whether you can quite see that, but to me it either looks like a broken arm or it's just completely out of proportion with the rest of the figure. The arm looks way too long. The arm that's resting on the chessboard. That really bothers me, this card, for that reason. I see this card and I think of broken arm or something. It just doesn't look right for me. The next one is the Hanged Man. I really dislike this. This is the Hanged Man in the form of the gallows, you know, looking like a criminal who has been hung at the gallows. I really dislike that association with the Hanged Man. Maybe it's supposed to represent the traitor. I just really dislike this representation of this card. It's got an association in this picture with, as I said, with the gallows and with a criminal being hung at the gallows. I really dislike that. I think it's quite harsh. I think of the Hanged Man in quite a spiritual way, so this picture really jars for me. I really dislike that. It's got a hard look. It's just quite awful to me. And another example of this deck, another card that I really dislike, the Five of Swords. Now, this card, it just looks plain evil. The expression on this figure with the sword, it just looks malevolent and plain evil. You know, you can see 2 figures here cowering under this figure with the sword. It has a violent representation. I just think that is plainly evil. So there are a few of the cards that I particularly dislike from the Anna Kay Tarot. And I'm one of the few people who have mentioned this because other people see that deck like a sacred cow. It's like, oh, everyone at the time was just raving about this deck, the Anna Kay Tarot, and I thought, oh, well, I like some of the cards, I think I'll buy it. But when I got the deck, I couldn't believe some of the images that were in the deck. Number 3, tarot regret number 3, watching tarot online. Now, by this I mean having watched, for me, I feel too many tarot videos over time in recent years, and that ties in with market saturation. There has been too much market saturation, and if you are watching tarot videos, you are seeing that a lot. And for me, that has helped to kill off a waning interest in tarot that I've had for the last few years. That has helped to kill off a lot of the larger focus on tarot that I have had. And the thing that ties in with watching tarot online is the point about common interest. And I have found, since I've had my channel over the last 2 years, that I think a lot of people think that if you have a particular interest and you share that interest, that you may have things in common with other people who are sharing and doing the same thing. And I have found that I have got more in common with people in connection to my other esoteric interests. So I have noticed that. I don't know why, but maybe it's because tarot is a fairly wide umbrella. That could be it. I don't know why that is, but I have noticed that I have had a lot more in common with sharing my other esoteric interests other than tarot. Number 4, tarot books and related items. Yes, I regret that I have also bought a lot, and maybe too many tarot books and related items, and I have traded quite a few of those over time, but I still have a large collection of tarot books as well, and that's because I have just had such a wide focus, and I have been doing so much research, but I am still left with quite a lot of tarot books and related items, the kinds of things that you buy along the way, you know, like a lot of tarot bags and those types of things. Regret number 5, spending too much time and focus on tarot for too many years. You know, 25 years is a long time, and even the first 20 years was a long time. And I think that's why I noticed over the last few years, roughly the last 5 years, I noticed that my interest was starting to wane then. So for the last 5 years, it has been waning on and off. So I have applied a very long time to my focus on tarot, and in some ways I think it has probably been too long a period. Number 6, tarot regret number 6, knowing when it is over. It is like a relationship, knowing when to leave. By that, I just mean over the last 5 years, when my interest in tarot was starting to wane, I had inklings then that my interest was really fading, and I think that can be a bit difficult to acknowledge, because you know, it's like anything that might be ending, but you need to acknowledge that, and I have acknowledged that, particularly over the last 1 or 2 years, I have acknowledged that. And I think it's healthy and it's good to acknowledge that. And that's the other reason why I'm doing this tarot regret video, not only to point out what you can experience along the way, but it is healthy to acknowledge and admit regrets. I'm not going to pretend that I don't have any regrets in connection to tarot. I don't think that would be healthy. That's just not real. I'd rather say some of the things that I do regret in regard to tarot, my very, very long period of tarot interest that I've had. Tarot regret number 7, the financial drain, the financial investment. And that probably ties into my tarot collection and tarot books. You know, it has been a financial drain, and I'm going to admit that too. Yeah, and I think that's a good idea to admit that. And it has made me far more discerning now, not only in regard to tarot, but in regard to purchases of different kinds in general. It's made me more aware of how a focus or a passion for something, if you're not keeping your awareness open about that, you may be going along spending too much along the way, spending too much money along the way here and there, even though it was over a long period of time. There is still financial investment involved. And the last one is, I just want to talk about the benefit, the tarot benefit that I have received from 25 years of being involved with tarot. For me, the best tarot benefit, apart from learning about that as I went along all those years, the main tarot benefit is the way it led me to other esoteric interests. For example, Kabbalah, this diagram I've got behind me here. There's other esoteric interests as well that have branched out of my original interest in tarot. So I'm really glad for that reason that I have been involved with tarot for a large number of years, in the way that it has led me to research and study and practice other esoteric areas. So I am really glad about that. And I suppose in connection to when I was talking about tarot in the way that saying, well, it's like a relationship, knowing when it's over. I'm talking about this now also to summarise in the way that I don't need comments on my video suggesting ways to rekindle my tarot interest, even though they are well-meaning. I'm making this video, as I said, to point out some of the regrets that you may have along the way. This is to help people, whatever stage of their tarot interest that they're in. I have tried tarot breaks. I have done that. This is all part of me knowing and acknowledging that my main focus on tarot has waned, has come to an end. And I know that might sound a bit sad, but I'm grateful for the other esoteric interests that I have. And I think, it has been worth that. And I think, that the tarot benefit overall it is good that you have a benefit for something at at the conclusion of that. But as I was saying, I am actually, pleased. I'm not sort of sad, or I have got a sentimental regard still for tarot. It's like a previous partner in a way. I have still got a sentimental regard to tarot, and I think that is good. At the end of this, I feel that there has been, the benefit for the other esoteric interests for me, and I do still have a sentimental regard to tarot. So that is another reason why, I don't need suggestions of how to rekindle my interest. As I was saying, even though I do think it would be very well-meaning, but everyone knows when something is over. Everyone knows when it is their time to focus on other things. So I will finish here my list of tarot regrets, and I hope that is helpful for people who are watching. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.